was just one day that I'll never forget. I got jail for something that I'll always regret. It was 12 o'clock midnight and I wanted to smack, so I headed downstairs for the favorite pie. I went out the door, what did I see? The back of the fridge staring right at me. I thought to myself, I could almost die. Then an image of pig, a pizza pie. So I put on the beaters, headed out the door, and I pictured myself eating more and more. But the store was closed, I busted into a rage, so I went to the crib and got the 12 gauge, ran back to the shop, busted down the door, and all I saw was pizza galore. So I stuffed my face, I couldn't even walk, couldn't last my shit, gave a wiggle and talk. So I fell asleep with my face in my plate, and the next thing you know, I was headed upstairs. In jail. In jail. Because we failed. In jail. Good afternoon, family. What's up? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Well, I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. But I had to come on here. I could not, absolutely not talk about this. What's up, Queen? How you doing, sis? What's up to all my ladies, all my dudes in the chat? Appreciate y'all. I could not discuss this. Queen, I'm with you. Girl, I had to come on here. Listen, it's a whole lot that does not sit well with me. Keep in mind, I'm a former correctional officer who have dealt with registered sex offenders, and there's so many violations that Kenneth Petty has committed throughout his duration. It just amazes me that I'm not surprised that he had the audacity to go viral and threaten somebody. So if y'all have not heard, Nicki Minaj I apparently brought her husband, Kenneth Petty, who we all know is a registered sex offender due to a sexual criminal offense that he committed at the age of, I believe he was 15 or 16, toward the victim, who I believe was either a year older or a year younger. And he also used a knife in commission of committing a sexual offense against his victim, which is the reason he was required by the laws of the land to register as a sex offender. Not only that, Kenneth Petty is on a sex offender registry list as well. So if you look up the state of California and you put in the name Kenneth Petty, you will see that he is a registered sex offender. Yes, we definitely, we got to chop this up, y'all. I could not let this go by. I think he's a low-key showing his envy of Nicki, and it's all about Offset at all, I think. So there's a couple of things here, Queen. I'm glad you mentioned this, because there's way more to this whole situation that a lot of bloggers are not talking about, that a lot of people are not discussing. Y'all have to keep in mind, again, Kenneth Petty is a registered sex offender. And because of his restrictions based off of that merit, meaning he cannot live his life like a normal human being, Kenneth Petty really has no purpose. And I really want y'all to understand the psychology of what Kenneth Petty is going through. You have to realize, check this out. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break down all of the elements as to why Kenneth Petty responded in the hood rat manner in which he did. First of all, this goes without saying. You could take a nigga out the street, but you can't take the street out the ninja. Okay? Let's start off by saying that. First and foremost, you can't pick up a hood dude and bring him into your world of luxury and think he's not going to bring the hood with him. Okay? Let's get that established. You can take the hood out the ninja, but you can't take you can take the ninja out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the ninja. It's only a matter of time before Kenneth Petty does something very detrimental or embarrassing that's going to cause him to get his freedom revoked. Listen, y'all have to realize something here. Kenneth Petty is stuck between a rock and a hard place. All right. First of all, Kenneth Petty came from nothing when Nicki Minaj met him. Okay. Now we all know she tried to run with this lie that she knew Kenneth Petty from way back in the day and all of that. We knew she did not know Kenneth Petty from a can of paint. Okay. Her relationship with Kenneth Petty was very spontaneous at the moment because Nicki Minaj had multiple failed relationships. Do y'all remember she'd been with Safari for 10 years? And when that relationship left, how devastated she was because she almost had a nervous breakdown on the radio station when she was talking to Angie Martinez about how devastated she was. When when Safari Samuels left her. Keep in mind, Nicki Minaj didn't leave Safari. Safari left her. This was during the time when Nicki was in her prime and just getting hot and heavy into the game. Exactly, Queen. And we're going to talk about that because I want y'all to realize why this dude is acting out. I want y'all to understand the psychology of mentally what Kenneth Petty is going through. And it's going to continue to get worse because Kenneth Petty is dead weight at this point. He has absolutely nothing to offer to himself, to his wife, and definitely to society. But we're going to keep going into that, okay? We're going to keep going into that. Yes, Nora, that's a pretty good analogy you came up with. Nicki and Petty remind me of Phaedra and Apollo. Yes, but at least even Apollo at some point in time realized he had to humble himself because we haven't seen Apollo in too many other issues once him and Phaedra went their separate ways. But you're right though, because Phaedra tried to take a hood dude and clean him up and make him a Pookie project. This is what happens, ladies. This is what happens when you pick up a Pookie and you try to make him a project, okay? So, yeah, and we're going to get into that too, Queen. So, you got to realize, Safari and Nicki Minaj had a very solid relationship at the time. They were together for 10 years. Safari started noticing that when Nicki started elevating in her career as a female rapper, she started smelling herself and treated Safari like he was a salesman. Okay? And of course, Safari, being Jamaican descent, most Jamaican men are very dominant, very aggressive. He was not about to sit there and be her male chaperone while she treats him like dirt. So keep in mind, because I don't want us focusing on Nicki and Safari too hard. I just want y'all to focus on the foundation and where I'm going with this. So Nicki, of course, is going to piss on Safari now. But anybody who's been a fan of Nicki Minaj, like I was once upon a time, Nicki Minaj was in love with Safari. And Safari didn't treat Nicki the way he treats Erica. See, we're looking at the Safari right now. And I get it. The Safari that we know now is cocky. He's an a-hole. We've seen him drag Nicki Minaj. But when he was with Nicki, he treated Nicki like a princess. he did when he was with Nicki. Okay? I really believe Safari just became a scorned man. He became bitter by the time he got with Erica, and Erica got the worst of him. Because really, the truth be told, Safari and Nicki should have been together. Despite what ended up happening, they was young then. Yes, I'm sure he cheated, he did all of that. But look what Nicki ended up with. Nicki ended up with something far worse. Eventually, if her and Safari would have stayed together, they probably would have got past that. You got to realize they were in their teens, they were very young. When you young and starting a relationship and all of that, you know what I mean? You never really know. But nevertheless, we're going to stay off of that. We ain't going to go into that because some of y'all not going to agree with my opinion, and I'm cool with that. And that's cool. You know what I mean? And cheating is cheating. It is wrong, and that's fine. But we're going to switch gears here. She been with Safari for 10 years. That relationship failed, okay? Then she turned around and called herself talking to Nas, okay? That did not work out as well, okay? So she got with Nas, and I knew that wasn't going to last long because Nas is much older, and he has a certain level of intellect that a woman of real maturity will have to have in order to deal with Nas. That didn't work out. And the truth is, a lot of these men, most of them got some type of demons behind closed doors. Whether they cheating, whether they gambling, whether they on drugs. The bottom line is everybody got baggage. Everybody got issues. So all these false delusions that you're not supposed to deal with this kind of man, and you're not supposed to deal with that kind of man. Well, in a sense, you might as well be single. Because the truth is, everybody coming to you with some type of demon. Whether that demon is alcohol, what's up, Jeremy? Whether if that hey, he can have a bunch of goddamn kids, a bunch of baby mamas. Either way, you gonna deal with something. You get in a relationship, you gonna deal with something. There's no such thing as the perfect man. Everybody on YouTube, we got these YouTube counselors who think they know what a real relationship is, what a real man won't do, what a real man will do, what a real woman won't do, what a real woman. No, you don't know what you're going to deal with till you get in a certain situation. So all that big talk about what you should tolerate and what you shouldn't tolerate, you're not going to know till you get there. Because it may be shit you may take off one person that you probably not going to take off another person. Ain't nobody in here perfect. Nobody in here got all the answers or what's the right type of man and what's the right type of woman. None of us will never have that down pat. It don't matter how much college degrees you got. It don't matter if you a professional psychologist. Everybody got all the answers to what you should and what you should not tolerate. Only you know, as your own woman, what you're going to tolerate, what you're not going to tolerate. Only you as a man know what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate. So I refuse to get in those little battles about, well, men shouldn't be doing this and women. Listen, if you're not going to deal with that, then you're not going to deal with that. So I'm not in the business of going back and forth in the chat about, you know, what type of what a woman shouldn't take from a man. And listen, all of us are anointed to deal with certain things that other people are not gifted in dealing with. You have some women that have gone through certain things with men and it made their relationship better. You have some who stayed and it didn't pay off, but only made things worse. Only you know who is worth fighting for and who's not worth fighting for. And that's just is what it is. Because a lot of people say what they not going to do till they get in a situation. And like I said, we got all these YouTube counselors, these YouTube dating experts that think they got the answer as to what type of black man you should want and what type of black woman you should want. And the truth of the matter is none of us are so wise and so smart to the point that we all ain't got somebody got over on you at one point in time. It just is what it is. So anyway, getting to this point here. Nicki Minaj didn't work with Safari. It didn't work with Nas. She got with Meek Mill. Now, when Nicki Minaj first got with Meek Mill, Because you know, Nicki Minaj has her barbs, her diehard fans who she won't even pay a light bill for. But anyway, that's besides the point. You rock with who you rock with. Whether if you're Cardi B fan, you're a Nicki Minaj fan. I'm not a fan of any of them. I'm not a fan of this new ratchet hip hop era. I'm just not. I don't do the Sukianas. I don't do the Sexy Red. I don't do the new Nicki Minaj. I did the Nicki Minaj when she first came out. I don't do this new what I would like to call ratchet rap. Okay, I don't even consider it hip hop. What's up, Rashad? I don't even consider it hip hop. It's ratchet rap. Okay, so anyway, she got with Meek Mill. I knew that relationship was a recipe for disaster. And I even commented when Nicki first got with Meek Mill, I said, they're not going to last. I had all the barbs attacking me, right? All the barbs coming in on me. Because, you know, you got these diehard fans that really think if they defend their favorite musician, they're going to get an increase on their paycheck. Okay? So I had all of these, her fans feeling some type of way. You just hating. Who is you? She is happy. They are happy. You need to be happy for them. Okay? That's why I don't do relationship goals. I don't idolize nobody's relationship. I don't worship nobody's relationship because you don't know what they're going through behind closed doors. So I said from the beginning that Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill shouldn't be together because both of them was very egotistical and arrogant. That was just my personal opinion. I had everybody swarming around my comment like a bunch of damn bees in a bee's nest, stinging my comment, calling me a hater because I'm not a participator. I don't hate. I just don't participate. I'm not going to like what you like, and you don't have to like what I like. But nevertheless, what ended up happening? Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill broke up just like I said they would because, for one, Nicki had not truly healed from her relationship with Safari. There's no way you've been with somebody 10 years, whether if he was a cheater, womanizer, whatever. She was with the man 10 years. You can't just instantly move on and grab the next relationship and think that, your past won't bring that baggage in with the new man, with the new guy. So, of course, her and Meek Mill's relationship did not work. All right, it got really ugly. He was throwing shade on Instagram because you know how these new school couples do now. When they're mad with each other, they got to shade each other on social media, on Facebook. They don't know how to be pissed with each other in private. They don't know how to just not like each other no more in private. No, we got to go on Twitter. We got to go on, Facebook. We got to post. We got to let everybody know how we feel. That's the difference between old school era versus new school. New school, they put everything out on social media. So when things didn't work out with her and Meek Mill, what happened was Safari ended up having a child. Because I want y'all to understand, looking at the foundation, how Nicki Minaj ended up with this hood booger. This is what happens when women become desperate, and this is what happens when women don't completely heal from a failed relationship. As a woman, you have to give your heart time to heal, or else you're going to bring that bad baggage into the next relationship. Okay? So when things did not work out with her and Meek Mill, Safari ended up having a child. That's his first child from Erica Mena, who we do not care for, but that's another subject. Not only that, Meek Mill moved on, and he too ended up having a child also. Okay? So you can only imagine Nicki Minaj feeling some type of way, because what a lot of y'all don't understand, for those of us who say that Safari was just such an awful guy and a no good piss ass dude, and this is not to condone any of his fuckboy behavior, because I'm not a fan of Safari. I liked him when he was low key, but once he got on that love and hip hop, you started seeing all the fuckboy behavior real loud and clear. So I got turned off. But anyway, going back to the point that's at hand. So you had Nicki Minaj at that point in time did not have anyone. Safari just had a child. Meek Mill had a child. And you could only imagine Nicki Minaj being the successful rapper that she is, that's used to accomplishing things, that's used to having the best of things. You could only imagine it made her feel some type of way that both of her exes were having children from other women. Now, keep in mind, again, everybody who's feeling some type of way about Safari, Nicki Minaj literally broke down and cried on the radio show and said how badly she wanted her and Safari to have their babies together. Because keep in mind, they've been together 10 years. Nicki Minaj's dream was to have her child from a man who didn't already have children. I know a lot of y'all don't remember that, but Nicki Minaj wanted to originally have babies from Safari. She said this herself on the Hot 97, I believe, New York station with Angie Martinez. She nearly almost broke down and cried because that was her dream for her and Safari to have a family. So women can sit up here and act like they don't care. In some instances, you may not care if your ex done moved on, especially if he was a fuck boy, he was abusive. You could care less. Like good luck, good riddance. I don't want you. You could become the next woman's problem. Nicki Minaj felt some type of way, so she had to find a relationship quick, fast, and in a hurry. Okay, because this is what, for all the barbs who don't know this, Nicki Minaj was in love with Safari, and he was in love with her. Okay. When Safari moved on and Meek Mill moved on, that made Nicki Minaj feel some type of way. You got to realize Nicki at this time was over 30 years old. She had, besides being a successful multi-million platinum selling rapper, when you have that much accomplishments, it's this automatic sense of entitlement, like you should be able to have whatever you want. And what people have to realize is the way life works, just because you are successful in one area, it does not mean you're going to be successful in every other area in your life. You could be a great lawyer, a great doctor, a great rapper, a great singer, but it does not mean you're going to be great wife material. It does not mean you're going to make a great relationship. It does not mean you're gifted in that area. Nicki may be gifted as a performer, as a writer, as an artist, but when it comes to relationships, based off her track record, that is one area in which she just does not have it together. It is what it is. I know the barbs are going to feel some type of way. You can go ahead and defend her. It's not going to, it's not going to add a balance. It's not going to add a credit to your light bill, but it is what it is. Okay. Nicki Safari remind me of Jeannie Mae and her ex-white husband. The race to move on fastest. Exactly. Nicki Minaj was determined that she was not going to be conquered. You got to remember, Nicki is used to winning. Nicki is used to being on top. That does not just apply as an artist. That applies to every other area in her life. Nicki was determined that she was going to get her a man one way or another. So then comes in Pookie, pedophile, Petty. Okay. Now, supposedly, allegedly, and I'm going to say everything I say in this content is in my own opinion. Nothing I say in this content is facts. It is based off of my personal opinion. This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Everything I say in this content is alleged. Let me put my disclaimer out before the barbs be in their feelings, or before the bitter black women come in here being in their feelings, because everybody could relate to one thing about bitter black women. They could relate to other bitter black women. I'm not bitter, so I can't relate to none of the sisters who come in here who want to feel some type of way because I'm going in on a girl who they admire and praise and give worship service. So she put this narrative out here that she been knew Kenneth Petty. We all knew, unless you was sleeping up under a goddamn rock, she did not know no Kenneth Petty. Put it this way, if she knew him, she didn't know him enough to have his child and to make him her husband. Nicki got on a desperate prowl. And this tends to happen to women, especially successful women, women who make money, women who are very independent, women that are used to winning, women that are used to constantly coming up. They cannot handle rejection. They cannot handle not being desired. They cannot handle not being wanted. And I really think that mentally and emotionally took a toll on Nicki Minaj, that all these failed relationships, yet these men have moved on with other women, are starting families, having babies, and here it is, I'm this multi-millionaire successful rapper, and I don't have a husband, I don't have children. Something is not, the math ain't mathing. And what men and women have to realize, just because you are successful, it does not automatically entitle you to be wife material or husband material. It just means you're rich and it just means you're successful. But what happened was desperation got the best of Nicki Minaj. Desperation got the best of her. She got fed up with failed relationships, after failed relationship, after failed relationship, after failed relationship. You're meeting these men in the industry, talking to these different rappers, talking to these different guys, and they not checking for you like that. Now, listen, there's a difference between men desiring you and men actually wanting to build with you. Any man can find you sexy, can find you fine, can find you attractive. But with all of that, when they sit down and talk to you and find out you an airhead, you an air mattress, the men tend to discover that your looks don't match up with your intelligence. Yes, you got the Prada bag. Yes, you got the expensive Dooney and Burke purses. Yes, you're wearing the red bottom shoes. But the elevator don't go all the way up. It's no different than, I'm sure some of my sisters in here, you ever met a guy that was real fine, attractive, drove a nice ass car, made a lot of money, but when you sat down and have dinner with this ninja, he bored you to death? You found out under those $2,000 Gucci suits that he's unintelligent and he's ignorant as fuck? Excuse my French. He drives nice cars, he has a nice condo, he has a nice mini mansion, but he's dumb as a box of rocks? You think men don't go through that? You think men don't meet women with beautiful banging bodies and she's brain damaged? Nora says desperation tends to set in when rich, successful women realize they're getting older and still single and childless. It's scary. Thank you, Nora. Very good point. Very good point indeed. And that's exactly what I was saying. Glad you and Queen in here because y'all be on the same page with me. Nicki Minaj is beautiful, but she's brain damaged. I bet if you sit down and have dinner with her, she's going to say something dumb out her mouth within 5 minutes. That's why I've never been one of those type of women, big on men with money. I've always been big on men who have conversation. I'm not going to say I want some broke bum dude, but I would rather have a conversation with a man that's funny, could stimulate my psyche and my intelligence over a cheese chili hot dog than a dude who's taking me out to Ruth Chris and the plate of food is $200 for steaks and potatoes and sweet potato souffle, but he's boring and he's arrogant and he's cocky and he's making me feel dry than a box of crackers that been sitting on the refrigerator for 2 weeks. I don't like a dry conversation. And your suits, your $2,000 suits, and your 2023 Lexus is not going to compensate for the fact you are boring. And it's how a lot of women we shortcut ourselves because we're looking at the man's outer appearance and not focusing on the fact he's boring, he's aloof, he has no real swag. And I don't mean swag just as dressing in the nicest shoes and sweaters and stuff like that. Meaning he's so full of himself, he don't know how to make you feel like you actually have something you could bring to the table. I've met dudes before I got married who had money, but they was boring as hell. I was so ready to hurry up and get the hell from my out that restaurant over that $200 meal with that $2 conversation. I done had guys that paid for $200 meals but gave me a $2 conversation. So anyway, that's what happened with Nicki. Like Nora said, that's what happened with Nicki. Nicki got all this money, all fame, all success. Nothing is worse than knowing you have everything, but the main thing you really want, your money can't buy. I'm going to repeat that again for those who didn't catch it. Nothing is worse knowing you have everything, but the main thing you want, your money can't buy. Nicki Minaj couldn't get nowhere with these industry dudes. As big and successful as she is, she has so many other options. You know, she could have chose other guys that was pretty much on the same level as her, but this is the difference. Them industry dudes was not going to kiss Nicki Minaj's ass. Because guess what? They make just as much money as her. They just as successful as her. So industry dudes was not checking for Nicki Minaj. Other guys that was rappers, other guys that was professional athletes, all of these men that are just as successful in the industry as she is, the difference between them and the pedophile Pookie, who we're getting ready to talk about in a few minutes, is that they didn't have to kiss her ass. You feel me? When a man that is successful is not going to kiss another woman's ass who is just as successful as him. Okay? He's not intimidated by her. He's not threatened by her. None of that. So this is what happens. Nicki Minaj gets to that desperate stage. Like, you know, there's different stages to cancer. Like you have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Stage 4 being the worst, meaning that you're actually on your last leg. Listen, Nicki Minaj was stage 4 in desperation. This is how Kenneth pedophile Pookie Petty was able to infiltrate. And as a woman, if you allow desperation to set in, that gives Pookie the big advantage. Pookie doesn't have to produce nothing but penis and time, and he's in there. And that is exactly what happened. Kenneth Petty struck gold. He hit lotto because he met Nicki Minaj during her desperate season, during her struggle season. The worst time to get a relationship is during your struggle season, because when you're when you become so deprived of attention, a Pookie could bring a hot dog and it'll mean the world to you because you've gotten just that desperate. No different being the man, you so thirsty to get a woman. Any gold digger, any woman who has ulterior motives could get over on you because you so thirsty for a female. You so thirsty for some boonie. Same thing. Thirstiness makes you a target. I'm going to repeat that again. Thirstiness makes you a target. When you are thirsty for a man, if you are thirsty for a female, it does not take much for them to get whatever it is they're trying to accomplish from you. That is what happened. Okay? Kenneth Petty met Nicki Minaj during her struggle season. Okay? Think about it. She had failed relationships. Okay? All of the men she been with, all of them are having babies, having families, even though they're not with their baby mamas anymore. But just focus on the time frame. I want you to focus on how Kenneth Pookie pedophile, I'm just calling him Pookie pedophile. Look at the advantage Petty, the pedophile Pookie, had in being able to get into Nicki Minaj's world. If it wouldn't have been him, it would have been a different Pookie. Okay? But Kenneth Petty, being a professional manipulator he is, he knew if he was going to conquer Nicki or get Nicki to accept him with his struggle, to accept him with his Pookie problems. Kenneth Petty, he's ratchet, but at the same time, he's smart enough to know if I want to get Nicki Minaj in my claws, I got to come with something that other niggas is not producing right now. And the fact that Nicki was not even getting attention, that's all the Pookie had to produce was attention. All he had to produce was DNA, dick, and attention. Yes, I said it, Rashad, Pookie pedophile. Anybody who don't like it, you're welcome to exit the room. JW, what's up, JW? By the way, I forgot to speak to you when you came in here. Thirstiness will make you make decisions from the wrong place. Ding, 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 ding. Round of applause. So y'all on the same page here. Queen says, what did he come with? Commitment. I just told you, Queen, he came with DNA, dick, and attention. That's it. That's it. Pookie does not have to produce nothing but DNA, dick, and attention. Make sure y'all hit the likes up, please. Don't just be peeping in the window and you don't buy nothing. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the likes. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for cash apps and all that. Just hit the like. But if you want a cash app, you know, be willing to bless a sister. I'll put my little cash app in here. If you want to bless the congregation with this powerful sermon today, you're welcome to do that. But that's all. Most Pookies, all they got to, especially, you got to realize, especially when you're dealing with a successful woman, it's easier for the Pookie to conquer the successful woman because she already has a job. Pookie don't need to produce that. She already has a car. Pookie don't need to produce that. She already has a house. Pookie don't need to produce that. Pookie don't have to produce nothing but penis. So you got to realize Kenneth Petty is a street dude, okay? He came from nothing. He's a struggle hood dude who saw a golden opportunity. And you got to realize Kenneth Petty is not book smart, but he's street smart. One thing about the Pookie can smell your desperation like a pit bull from a mile away. I don't care how much you try to hide it. I don't care how much you try to go around here acting like I'm this independent, strong black woman. I don't want no man. I don't need no man. Pookie is like a pit bull. He can smell desperation on a desperate woman a mile away. Kenneth Petty knew Nicki Minaj was desperate. So what he did, he infiltrated during her struggle season. But never get a man or woman during your struggle season. Listen, let me give y'all some advice right quick. If you're going through a bad space in your life, this ain't the time to get no man, to get no woman. Understand? Because you're vulnerable right now. You feel me? I'm trying to help y'all out. At the same time, I get it. We're going in on Kenneth Pedophile Pookie, but I do not need none of my black men or none of my black women until you are mentally in a good space. Don't bring another person in your life during your struggle season. because they're going to play on your vulnerability and your desperation. So Kenneth Petty knew he did not have nothing to offer. Okay? So what he did was he compensated for that with DNA, dick, and attention. If you think about it, that was all he really needed to bring. He didn't have to bring a car. He didn't have to bring a job. He didn't have to bring a business. So let me tell you what Kenneth Petty did. Like most Pookies, a lot of you guys wonder how the Pookies be pulling the women, how the Pookies be getting over. Let me tell you what Pookie does. Pookie learns to put in overtime in the areas in which he know he can produce. So since Kenneth Petty didn't have to produce a car, a job, or a house, when it came to that pipe game, when it came to putting that pipe game down, the dick, the D, that good wood, let me tell you something. He turned her out in that bedroom. Pookie pedophile knew if he was going to really get Nicki, he was going to have to bring it. He was going to have to bring his A game on like never before. So what he did was he got in that bed and he turned her out. He was clapping those Tupperware cheeks. He would beat it. He would eat it. He did all, listen. He did the whole buffet in that bedroom. He gave Nicki Minaj the whole buffet in the bedroom. He did I ain't gonna do that. I don't like that. I ain't gonna do. He was a buffet brother. A buffet brother is a man who has no limits to what he has to do in the bedroom to turn his woman on, to turn his woman out. All that. I ain't about to eat that. I ain't about to hit that. I don't do that. I ain't licking that. I ain't eating that. You got some dudes who just want to stick it. They don't want to toss the salad. Listen, we all adults here. If I'm being a little graphic, I have to go there because I want y'all to understand how Kenneth Petty was able to infiltrate in the manner of what he did. Let me tell you something. He was smashing those Tupperware cheeks. He was tossing that. He was eating the groceries. I said what I said. That Pookie, listen, Pookie has a lot of strength to eat the groceries and to smash the cheeks because he does not work. He does not provide. He doesn't do anything else. That's why he is so good in that bedroom. That bedroom is his full-time job. Kenneth Petty turned Nicki out. He put that street game on her. He put that bunker buster on her in that bedroom. I'm telling y'all what happened. Because he ain't got shit else to offer. So what he did was he smashed her to smithereens in that bedroom. Okay? He probably made her climax 5 times a day because Pookie don't have nothing to offer. So he has a lot of adrenaline to give her that good wood all day long. Okay, so Kenneth Petty put it down. And not only that, he gave Nicki a lot of attention. A lot of attention. Pookie is smart. Poverty Pookie may be uneducated. Pookie may be slow, but Pookie knows how to stroke a woman that's in struggle season. He knows how to stroke her ego, and that's what he did. So this is what's going on, y'all. Everybody's talking about it. Nicki Minaj's husband, knowing he's a registered sex offender, decides to go on live and make threats to offset Cardi B's husband over some pettiness that occurred at the VMA. Now, keep in mind, Kenneth's last name is Petty. Okay? So, because I want to get straight to the steak and potatoes. I don't want to drag y'all too long with all the elements. But I just had to give y'all a little pushback on that. So, I'm going to play the video because I want y'all to hear how Kenneth Petty has dug a hole for himself that he really could not afford. Now, keep in mind, as a registered sex offender, there's a lot of rules that govern you. Listen, being a registered sex offender is one of the most worst type of crimes in which you can be convicted for. Because even when they allow you to live on the outside, and meaning you're not incarcerated or having to stay in a prison, it's so many rules for a registered sex offender. And Kenneth Petty has been a registered sex offender, I think, for what, over 10 years or something like that. So one would think that he would know better. Kenneth Petty has violated multiple rules being a registered sex offender. And I am very surprised that the GBI has not done anything to shut this man down, because he been stepping outside of the guidelines of being a registered sex offender. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to play the little video so y'all can hear for yourselves what Kenneth Petty was saying. So let's just get into it. We're just gonna get into it. Let's see. Okay. Let me try to get into this. See if I can share. Hopefully I don't have an audio issue, but if I do, that's fine. I'm going to play it from my phone if need be. But I think Kenneth Petty then got himself in another pickle. Not understanding when you're a registered sex offender. So I'm going to pause this. And I'm gonna check on my end and make sure of my sound. If push come to shove, I'm gonna just play from my phone, because I really want y'all to hear what Pookie Petty Pookie pedophile did. All right, so we're going to go to my channel. All right, so hopefully, if not, if y'all can't hear me, I'm gonna just play it from my phone. So since like my audio's not playing, so that's fine. I'm going to play it from my phone because I want y'all to hear. Since like my audio's not playing, so that's fine. That's double feedback. So that's fine. I'm just playing it from my Instagram because I want y'all to hear how this dude is a major violation. Being a registered sex offender, he was way out of pocket for saying the things that he actually said and the threats he actually made. So we're just gonna go ahead and play that footage. Almost there. Offset response. So basically something happened at the VMA Awards, and I think Offset made a comment that pretty much pissed Kenneth Petty off. Now, what I couldn't understand was how Kenneth Petty was allowed to come to the VMA Awards. That I couldn't understand, because most registered sex offenders are not allowed to even go to those type of events. Because in some cases, you know, it's family, people bring their children there. I couldn't understand that at all. So I'm just wondering, after he makes this comment, how it's going to basically backfire, because he did make a threat, and Kenneth Petty should definitely know better that he's not allowed to make threats. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna exit out of here, and I'm gonna just play the audio. It probably would have struck me anyway if I played the audio. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna just come out of this and share the screen. Just play the audio.
Smack all them little things. Hey, yo, come in. Let him in. Offset, where you at?
Now, so this little snippet of the video that I'm getting ready to play is after, I guess there was some words or something exchanged between Offset, Cardi B's husband, and Kenneth Petty, Nicki Minaj's husband, and Offset DM'd one of the guys that was in the crew, one of Kenneth Petty's goons. So that's where it all started. I'm not sure what provoked it, but what you're going to hear is Kenneth Petty and his goons basically going in and somewhat in a sense threatening Offset to pull up, come meet them outside. So I'm gonna just go ahead and play it, and I'm gonna pause it when it gets to Kenneth Petty's part so you can hear what he actually said. And I'm like, wow.
Stupid. That's them? Oh, no, that ain't them. Smack all them little things. Hey, yo, come in. Let him in. Offset, where you at? Oh, shut, yeah. We outside. Big Zoo outside, nigga. Big Queens, right? Yeah.
That's the goon talking. His goons pumping him up.
You got them niggas, Offset, them niggas acting like niggas DM me. Yo, where you at? We outside. We run this city, nigga. Don't let these niggas fool you. We run this city, nigga. You see the addresses on the buildings, nigga. You see the plates on the cars, nigga. What's going on?
This kid is talking now.
Sturdy, nigga. All the way. Sturdiest, nigga. Stupid nigga. Check the serial numbers. The sturdiest. Yeah. Fuck y'all niggas talking about. All the way. Ain't nobody dummy. Yeah. And the money right. The money right. The money right, nigga. Talking about stupid. That's them? Oh no, that ain't them. That ain't spin, nigga. You know that. And we out here. How long y'all wanna be on us with us for us? How long y'all wanna stay here, man? Until y'all niggas come. Hold on, how we add them niggas on there, man? We gonna tell them niggas, man. Man. How we add them niggas on, man? Drop a location. One of y'all add them niggas in shit, you heard? Tell them niggas big suit, big creams outside, nigga. Whole gang outside. Tell them niggas, it's not a million niggas, nigga. It's just a sturdy stuff. That's it. Look, we right here. We not mobbing, we here though. Look, nigga, we here. What's going on? Hold on. Them niggas sending me DMs like I ain't cuckoo. Like I ain't cuckoo. I wish I would have knew that. Yeah, that's a fact. Let's get this shit. I would have choked them in the seat section. Come on, my nigga. Next awards, we gotta choke them. Securities around them, man.
Basically, y'all, as you can see, if you go on YouTube and you put in Offset and if you put in Offset and Kenneth Petty beef, basically Kenneth Petty is standing outside some building with his goons, and they basically popping all this junk, telling Offset to pull up, and that's when Kenneth Petty is calling him a PUSSY nigga, and all this and that, and basically saying you're gonna have to plan your funeral, messing with me, and I'm like, wait a minute. First of all. My thing is, Kenneth Petty is a registered sex offender. So I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of concerns. A lot of this is not sitting well with me. First of all, I know a lot of VMA shows are kind of late. Most VMA shows, I think, 8, 9 o'clock. I don't know, never been to one. My thing was, how was Kenneth Petty able to attend the VMAs when there's going to be families there? In some instances, some people bring their children. Some of these celebrities bring their children to the VMAs. From my understanding, if Petty is a registered sex offender, he's not supposed to be at any event or occasion that involves children. Now, he could have possibly got a pass from his supervision community officer. Your supervision community officer is like your parole officer, but the only difference is they specifically keep up with registered sex offenders. So maybe Nicki Minaj was able to get a pass, or either that, or he went against the grain and went on his own, knowing he wasn't supposed to go. That's my first concern, okay? Because most registered sex offenders, they're not allowed to be out the house at a certain time. Y'all love this great narrative. He didn't do it, he was cleared, which is why he is off house arrest. Okay, he's off house arrest. That has nothing to do with him being a registered sex offender. You could also be off house arrest and still be a registered sex offender. Okay, he's still on the registry list. You go to the registry list on the California website, you will see Nicki Minaj's address is still there. So just because they gave him some leniency on the rules, let's say if they did say, okay, we're going to go ahead and take you off of house arrest, it does not mean that he is not a registered sex offender. That is for life. You can't buy your way out of being a registered sex offender. Okay, that's not like stealing from Walmart. That's not like stealing from Target. And my thing is, it's the women. Y'all are the ones that are defending this more than the men are. I don't even see men coming in the chat condoning this. You as a female, if that's what you are, Miss Bucci Cat, I don't know. You may even be Nicki Minaj. I'm not sure. It's a reason you caping for this type of behavior. But the bottom line is this: maybe you a Barb's, maybe you a fan. Whatever the case is, I got nothing to do with that. But I will say this much: once you have to register as a sex offender, that is for life. Okay, that's for life. You don't get to decide, I no longer want to be a registered sex offender. Secondly, he's a level 2 registered sex offender. He's not a level 1. He's a level 2, which makes him an endangerment to society. So even though it was several years ago, since a lot of y'all want to condone this rapist actions, he was 15. He still was old enough to know better. Had it been your daughter, had it been your niece, I guarantee you, your narratives will be totally different. Your narrative is because you're a fan. And one thing about you fans, y'all can't see past the smoke. Y'all will make excuses for your favorite rappers. Y'all idolize, y'all worship these people like they're less capable of making poor decisions. Nicki Minaj could have chose any man she wanted, but she chose to deal with him. She chose to marry and have a child from a man that's a registered sex offender who's still out here in the streets being reckless. He does not conduct himself as a man. And who's to say people probably wouldn't be going in so hard on him if he didn't act so hood all the time. There's plenty of men out here that are registered sex offenders, but you would never know it because they don't walk around here cocky. They don't walk around here trying to be seen. They don't walk around here acting like Mr. Big Shit. So if anybody's coming for Kenneth Petty, that's his own fault because he won't sit down and disappear and go humble himself. Everybody knows that you're the husband of Nicki Minaj. Everybody knows that. So why do you have to keep, going around here poking out your chest, flexing your muscles, acting like a hood booger? He's supposed to be on a different level. Kenneth Petty is married to a millionaire. Okay? He's married to a millionaire. So he has no reason to still be going around here acting like a hood dude who lives in subsidizing housing with a baby mama who has 4 or 5 kids with different last names. He's still a hood dude acting like he's from the hood. This is the prime example of you can take a ninja out the hood, you can't take the hood out the ninja. Garnetta says, welcome to chat. By law, he's not allowed to be around his own children. This is what I'm saying. Y'all be sitting up here trying to defend a pedophile and think that other people like us, we're dumb and we're not hip to the game and we don't know the law. Kenneth Petty is, for one, he's not even supposed to be around goons or around other men who have committed felonies. Now, last time he almost went to jail because how he got caught the first time, how it was even brought to the attention of the media that he was a registered sex offender. First of all, Pookie pedophile went to the damn not Barbados, but he went to I think it was the Barbados. I can't remember what it was, but Nicki had a concert there and she took him out of the country, and him being a registered sex offender, he knew good damn well he was not supposed to leave the country with Nicki without first checking with his community supervised officer. That's how he got caught in the first place. Nobody would have never even knew he was a registered sex offender had he stayed in the guidelines. But let me tell you what happened. Kenneth Petty, being a hood dude he is, he thought he could get away with going to the country since he was with Nicki Minaj at the time before they actually married. He thought, I'm with this multi-millionaire, so I don't have to abide by the rules as a registered sex offender. That is what he thought. Until it went viral, showing that he was in another country because the concert she was doing was with another artist, and the artist was showing Nicki love by hugging her. Kenneth Petty, being a hood booger he is, he pushed the artist off, or either he stepped in between them. But anyway, he embarrassed Nicki by getting in the face of an artist who was performing with her and showing her love. Now, it would have been different if the artist was grabbing Nicki's butt or something like that. But it just goes to show you that Kenneth Petty is straight hood. He didn't even know how to conduct himself as a man, knowing your woman is an artist. Your wife is an artist. She's a performer, and she is going to work with men. She's going to perform with men. And that's how his simple dumb behind got caught in the first place. Had he laid low when he went over there, had it not been no recording, no video footage of him over there, he probably would have got away with it. But you have to realize, but Kenneth Petty is worse now because not only is he a registered sex offender, but he is also with a multi-millionaire celebrity who constantly has paparazzi on her. So anything Kenneth Petty does is going to be brought to the attention of the GBI. Who is the GBI? Let me let you know who is the GBI. GBI is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. In his case, California Bureau of Investigation, meaning that they regulate the activities of all registered sex offenders. So it's actually called the California Department of Justice Office of the Attorney General. The California Sex Offender Registry at the California Department of Justice. In simpler terms, DOJ maintains the registered sex offender database. So in other words, being that Kenneth Petty lives in the state of California as a registered sex offender, he is required to register as a sex offender with the local law enforcement agency. So in other words, he is required to report as frequently as his officer wants him to report. So that way they're able to keep up with Kenneth Petty's whereabouts. They want to make sure Kenneth Petty is staying within the guidelines and he's not doing anything that's in violation of him being a registered sex offender. So keep in mind, if you see Kenneth Petty out after 10 o'clock, and in most cases, registered sex offenders have a curfew, or if you see him, going to another state or something with Nicki Minaj, keep in mind that he had to get permission for that, okay? It's not like me and you, if I want to go to California tomorrow, I can go. If I want to fly to Jerusalem or whatever, as long as I got a passport, I can go. But a registered sex offender is different. Whatever little privileges you're allowed to have, you have to get permission. It does not matter that his wife is a millionaire or not, okay? And for a while, I thought Kenneth Petty was being smart and laying low and not bringing any attention to himself, because Kenneth Petty, if any of y'all in the chat room, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he just have an issue with Nicki Minaj's security? Didn't he insult a security person at one of Nicki Minaj's shows or concerts recently? He's already dealing with that. Then the latest I heard is that the victim in who he raped, that caused him to have to register as a sex offender, they are saying they have new evidence that they're going to utilize towards Kenneth Petty. So Kenneth Petty keeps digging a grave for himself. Listen, when you are a registered sex offender, you cannot do what regular people can do. I can get in a confrontation with somebody and say, I'm gonna whip your ass, or I'm gonna come after you. As a registered sex offender, you can't go around here making threats. You are already on paper by law. You have to walk a fine line. And what has happened with Kenneth Petty, he's been with Nicki Minaj so long, he has forgotten his place as a RSO, registered sex offender. Y'all not understanding how strict his lifestyle is. And that is why Kenneth Petty is going around here being a low-key bully in a sense, because he's miserable. Imagine being with a millionaire, being with a woman who has all of these millions, and you can't just up and drive her cars like you want to. You can't just up and come home 2, 3 in the morning. You can't just up and get in a $1 million plane to Spain with your millionaire wife. See, Nicki Minaj may have a marriage, but she don't have a husband because he's very limited. He's not able to do things that the average man can do. If a man wants to go to another country with his wife, he can go. If a man wants to go to all his wife's concerts and shows and support her, he can do that. Kenneth Petty has so many restrictions on his life. And the only reason why he's gotten this much leniency is because of mucho dinero, money. It is Nicki Minaj who's paying all his lawyers, who's paying his PO, who's paying for everything. And that's the only reason why. Let me tell you something. The law is smart. The law is brilliant. The law could have locked Kenneth Petty up long time ago. When he first made that violation and he went all the way to the Barbados, with Nicki Minaj, when she had that concert, whatever, they could have arrested, they could have incarcerated him then. They did arrest him and brought him back to the States and made him re-register, but they technically were supposed to put him in jail, in prison, because that was a violation. Let me tell you why they didn't put him in prison. This is the way the law looks at it. The law rather make money off of an offender than have to spend money. So if they would have locked Kenneth Petty up, that would have cost taxpayers money. Because we all know that anytime anybody is incarcerated, it automatically, the state has to pay for it. Everybody in here who's taxpayers, who pays taxes, you are paying for inmates. You are paying for prisoners to eat. You are paying for prisoners to live in prison. That's where your taxes are going. Well, that's one of the places where your taxes are going. The state is smart. The state, the law knows Nicki Minaj is a millionaire. Why not have her pay us versus us charging our taxpayers more money to house him in the prison? So, as long as Nicki Minaj is putting that money out there, yes, Kenneth Petty will be covered to a certain degree, but I believe what's going to happen, if he does not slow his roll, he don't humble himself, he's going to hang himself sooner than later. Because you can't go around here getting into it with Offset or these other rappers. First of all, bro, your wife is your salary. Everybody knows Kenneth Petty does not work. What's up, Linda? His wife works. His wife is the reason he's wearing these $2,000 sneakers and $3,000 jackets and jeans and stuff. Nicki Minaj has married a man child. He's a man child. You, in the words of K. Michelle, you can't raise a man. Not only she has her son she has to raise, but she also has to raise her husband. Because evidently he is so hood, he's not understanding. Your wife is a millionaire. Do you not realize when you go around here making threats, people can sue you? And keep in mind, you are married to Nicki. So whatever you do, both of y'all have got to pay for it. Or should I say, Nicki Minaj is going to pay for it, because we know Kenneth Petty does not have the money. Soon as anybody that's associated to a celebrity says they're going to make somebody funeral, they're telling you you're gonna have to make funeral arrangements, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna beat, whatever, allegedly, whatever the words he used. Keep in mind, people know his wife is a millionaire. They're going to sue him for his threats, and guess who's gonna pay for it? His wife. He don't care, because for one, Kenneth Petty is not the one making the money. His wife is. And anytime you are married to somebody who doesn't feel like they have anything to lose, you end up being the one having to compensate for it. Nicki Minaj married a hood dude with a hood mentality, with hood mannerisms. He does not know how to conduct himself as a man in public. He does not know how to talk like a man. He does not know how to handle issues like a man. And let me tell you the reason why Kenneth Petty is doing all this extra stuff. First of all, he doesn't have a purpose as a man. Anytime a man is in a relationship with a woman, he has to feel like he has a purpose. Whether that purpose is being a leader, whether that purpose is being a provider, whether that leader rather his abilities as a man is to just, take care of his family. Kenneth Petty does not have a purpose. He can't provide because his wife is the one, that's the breadwinner making the money. He can't even protect her because she got all her security guards for that. Everything that the average man is able to do to feel like a man wants to be able to provide. A man wants to be able to protect for his family. And Kenneth Petty can't do none of that. And that is the reason why he's acting out like the man child that he is. That is why he constantly has to flex his muscles when he gets in confrontation. That is why he constantly responds to confrontation like the little boy that he is, because Kenneth Petty, his wife has so much success to the point she really don't need him. And that is the problem. Kenneth Petty does not feel needed. She don't need him to provide. She does that. She don't need him to protect. She has her crew. She has her entourage. He don't have a purpose. So anytime he can use an opportunity to flex his muscles, to poke his chest out, to prove he's a man, he does it, but he does it in a manner in which it makes him look bad. Does that make any sense to anybody in the chat room? Because I want to make sure we all on the same point. I don't want to be rambling and nobody's not feeling where I'm coming from. Do y'all not understand? Kenneth Petty don't have a purpose. That's why he acts like the man child that he is. He cannot give Nicki Minaj something that she can't get herself. And see, what it was coming from the hood, you know, he struck lotto when he met Nicki Minaj. But he's finding out the hard way that fame comes with a price. When you was a nobody, when Kenneth Petty was a nobody, before he married Nicki Minaj, before he had a child with Nicki Minaj, when he was a nobody, he didn't have yes, he got more materialistic things than he ever had, but at the same time, he didn't have the problems then that he has now. The whole world knows you registered sex offender. So if they see you anywhere, any place doing something you don't need to be doing, the whole world gonna know about it. How you around here beefing with Offset? And let me tell you, when I say the comments have been hilarious, Kenneth Petty makes himself look small each and every time. He's not representing his wife, Nicki, in a real manner, okay? There's many men out here who make less money than their wives, but they still know how to conduct themselves as a man and carry themselves as a man. Kenneth Petty does not, he lacks those masculine qualities. So he's up here beefing with Offset, who's not a registered sex offender, okay? And like a lot of people said, all Offset got to do is go to the playground. Kenneth Petty can't go to the playground. I said, when these people was going in, I'm like, Nicki, come get your husband. People keep coming for him. They telling Offset all he got to do is get his kids, and Kenneth Petty can't come. Listen, y'all are ruthless as hell in these YouTube streets, y'all. I was cracking up. The comments on Instagram was priceless. They were saying all Offset has to do is go to Chuck E. Cheese. Kenneth Petty can't go there. I'm like, listen, Nicki, come get your husband. He's making you look bad. But at the same time, truth is, Nicki Minaj is ratchet too. So she don't know how to tell her husband how to conduct himself. Sometimes as a wife, you have to read the room. As a wife, you have to let your womanly intuition step in, and you have to talk to your husband and say, look, you're already a registered sex offender. You know, you cannot afford to be at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. You don't want to go to prison, okay? He's going to keep costing Nicki money, and he's going to keep costing Nicki a peace of mind. It's brutal, but it is what it is, Omega. What's up, Omega? But that's what I'm saying. He knows he's a registered sex offender. Why are you going around here in the camera, in front of these cameras, popping junk, letting your goons push you up? Your goons ain't got nothing to lose. Your goons are not registered sex offenders. You are a registered sex offender. Why are you letting your goons, these street hood boogers, why are you letting them provoke you and push you up? You are with a wife that's a millionaire. Shouldn't you be home in a mansion watching your I don't know what's the biggest flat screen TV size, but shouldn't you be watching your 1,000-inch screen TV, getting damn DoorDash from Ruth Chris? Let me tell y'all, Kenneth Petty is miserable with Nicki. That's why he's acting out and doing all this extra stuff. He wants to be seen. He wants to be known other than just being Nicki Minaj's husband. You feel me? He's under her spotlight. And I don't care how much he tries to walk around here cocky and flexing his muscles. Dude is miserable. Listen, how many of y'all in here can say, how fun is it to be with a millionaire, but you got all these damn rules and restrictions? You can't listen. Kenneth Petty cannot just go drive one of Nicki Minaj's Lamborghinis, and his officer, his parole, his community officer don't know about it. Listen, the rules are so strict with being a registered sex offender. Because I used to work in the jail, so I know a lot of the rules and the restrictions they have. I'm not understanding how California does theirs, but you're not even supposed to have a social media account as a registered sex offender because children use social media, okay? Or if they do let you use social media, it may have to be to where you're not allowed to let children have access to it. I don't know how they bend the rules. Like I said, every state is different. As a registered sex offender, you're not even supposed to smoke weed. You're not supposed to drink alcohol. You're not supposed to drink wine. They don't want you using any type of drugs. They don't want you drinking any type of alcohol, even if it's a wine cooler, because they feel like since you have become registered because of a grape incident, they feel like if you drink alcohol or if you're under any type of substance abuse, any type of substance, if you're under the influence of weed, if you're under the influence of wine, beer, they feel like you're capable of reoffending. So it's very strict. You're not allowed to drink and you're not allowed to smoke weed. So if Kenneth Petty is somewhere with his wife, he's smoking a joint, or you see him drinking, he got a glass of champagne in his mouth, and you screenshot that, take a picture of it, and it goes viral, he can get in trouble for that. You're not supposed to drink and you're not supposed to smoke weed. They don't want you using drugs or alcohol as an excuse for why you reoffend. Well, I was high, I was drunk. They're not playing that. I'm telling you, because I used to work in the correctional facility with these type of dudes who had this type of who had to register. And when I read the pamphlet on all the stuff they're not allowed to do, I'm like, I know Kenneth Petty has to be miserable. Don't you know you're not even supposed to watch porn as a registered sex offender because they don't want anything that's going to sexually stimulate you? Don't you know Nicki Minaj's nieces, nephews, they're not allowed to come to their house anytime Kenneth Petty is there. Her neighbors are not allowed to bring their children around, even if other adults are around while he's there. He's not allowed to be near playgrounds. He's not allowed to live near schools. He's not allowed to live near daycare centers, anywhere where there's children. And we all know there's schools everywhere. There's daycare centers everywhere. Children are everywhere. You're not allowed to get X-rated magazines. Okay, you're not allowed to watch porn websites. Don't think that your community supervisor can't go through your computer and check your hard drive, even if you done deleted stuff, and see that you're watching porn, see that you're looking at children. They still have ways of getting it to your address. I forgot what it's called, but your ID address or whatever, where they can see if you've been looking up anything that's related to children. You can go back to prison for that. So you're not allowed to watch porn. You're not allowed to get dirty magazines. What else you're not allowed to do? Oh, registered sex offenders, you're not allowed to keep like candy, teddy bears. You're not allowed to have items in your reach that will lure children. Okay? You can't have lollipops. You can't have little candies, little stuff like that. Depending on how strict your PO is, they can dock you for that. There's another thing. Kenneth Petty's PO can come to Nicki Minaj's mansion anytime unannounced. Even with all of Nicki Minaj's millions, she's not allowed to tell them, oh, y'all cannot come to my mansion. Y'all not allowed to come past security. Trust and believe, when Kenneth Petty's PO shows up to Nicki Mansion, security knows they have to let him in. Security knows they don't have to alert and really, tell him anything. In other words, You have no privacy. Listen, the only person that's allowed to come to my house unexpectedly is Amazon. If you ain't Amazon or DoorDash, don't show up to my house unannounced. Amazon is the only people who got authority who can come here unannounced. Matter of fact, I got a package I got to get when I leave out of here. I know it's in the mailbox. But anyway, registered sex offenders, you're not allowed to go to your kids' school. So Kenneth Petty would never be able to pick up their son or drop him off from school. Never. Because school is a place where children by law are required to be safe from registered sex offenders. So Kenneth Petty cannot pick up his son or drop his son off from child care, daycare, even when his son is old enough to go to elementary school, middle school. Kenneth Petty cannot be there. Let's say if Kenneth Petty's son has his first soccer game, his first baseball game, Kenneth Petty cannot be there. Why? Because there's kids there. Did y'all not know recently that they put up a petition allegedly the neighbors in Nicki Minaj's neighborhood wanting Nicki Minaj's husband to move out of their neighborhood? Because y'all know these bougie millionaires, they are very funny. Especially if you're living around all these Clorox colored individuals. But not even that. A lot of people just don't feel safe with registered sex offenders. So I can't really say it's a race thing. But even if it is, the fact that he's a registered sex offender, they can use that to their advantage. That's how annoying it is. So Kenneth Petty is not going to be able to be a part of too many of his son's special moments that involves children. If they do have a birthday party, they can't have it at Chuck E. Cheese because there's going to be other children there. I don't think Nicki Minaj really understood what she signed up for. She allowed desperation to get the best of her to the point that she didn't do her research. You know, she didn't really look into the situation by the time, you know, she decided to marry this man and have a child from this man. So, you know, and I've been on here for a while, but I had to come on here and say this because I'm like, I know good damn well Kenneth Petty is not up here making threats on live, y'all. That's how smart and brilliant he is. You making threats on live, acting like the hood booger that you is. Because again, you can take the ninja out the streets, but you can't take the streets out the ninja. He is an embarrassment to Nicki. He's a grown man, and he's still walking around here acting like a young thug dude. He's going to cost her money, and he's going to cost her reputation. Nicki has a brand to uphold, and he's so ignorant, he's not understanding that. If you're not going to act like a man for you, at least do it for your wife. Your wife has fans out there. Do y'all not realize some of Nicki Minaj's fans are victims of grape? Who are seeing Nicki Minaj, the artist who they idolize, worship, and treasure, seeing them act in this manner? It's just ridiculous. But anyway, y'all, I've kept y'all on here long enough. I just thought I would speak upon this because it's a lot of people out there that's very ignorant to understanding that being a registered sex offender, you can't just go around here doing what you want to do. You can't go around here hanging out with goons who got criminal records. You can't be going on live calling somebody a pussy ass, Nigga, whatever. Just acting like he just acting like, he's a embarrassment. He's just ridiculous. And this is the father of her child. How is he setting an example? He has a son, and I hope Nicki prays over her child, because sometimes the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. A lot of times your child tends to get a lot of a narcissistic parent's ways. You feel me? So It may not go further than what it is, but Kenneth Petty is walking a fine line. You a registered sex offender, dude. You don't need to be on here beefing with nobody. First of all, everybody knows your wife is taking care of you. At least Offset is making his own money. He's been in the industry for a long time. And like Offset said, Offset, when Offset did respond, he just laughed and did a video of himself getting off his jet plane saying, broke ninjas, I'm going to sit up here and argue with broke ninjas. Look at how I'm living. And really, that's the best response. Who want to go drive in the hood and respond to some hood ninjas all dressed in black like they getting ready to case a bank over some words? It's not even necessary. You got a lot of black men that are in the grave over pride, over pettiness, over being bigoted. You don't have to respond to every insult, you know what I mean? You don't have to prove you're a man by getting on social media, using all this derogatory language. He is just an embarrassment. But y'all, we'll find out in due time how all of this plays out. So, I kept y'all long enough. But I just thought it was imperative that I talk to y'all about this, because when I saw how that dude was acting on live camera, no, he's a registered sex offender, I was like, OMG. This could have not been worse. If he don't slow down, he's going to end up in jail or prison, or somebody's going to test his gangster. You know, and I know, everybody in this chat knows, people are willing to bring guns to a sword fight. So he better be careful going around here challenging everybody, because it may come a point when he's in a situation and nobody's there to have his back or cover him. He has a family. He has a wife. He should be thinking about her safety and his son's safety. You don't be sitting up here making these type of threats online, knowing you got dudes out here, you know what I mean, that don't have nothing to lose. You know, the truth is, you have some dudes low-key hating on you because you with a woman that's a millionaire. But you out here playing into the game because you still a hood booger. What's up, Armageddon? Yep, and that's why they call him Kenneth Petty, because he's definitely very petty. But y'all, we'll see in due time where this is going to land. But only time will tell. But I've never seen a registered sex offender get away with all of the violations that Kenneth Petty has been able to get away with this far. You know what I'm saying? And it's live on camera where he made this threat. So it's not even like anybody got to lie about it. But y'all, anyway, I'll keep y'all posted if anything else becomes of this. Y'all stay safe out there. Y'all be blessed. I appreciate y'all hanging out in the chat with me. Appreciate y'all giving me positive feedback, positive energy in the chat room. Even though some of you may have not agreed with what I said today, I thank you for disagreeing with me respectfully and being respectful in the chat room. I appreciate that. So y'all enjoy the weekend. Y'all be blessed, y'all. I'm about to drink me some wine and woosah. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend, man. Y'all be safe out there again. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Thank y'all for still being loyal to my channel. And I appreciate y'all. Until then, until next time, y'all be blessed. Take care.